ఉపాధ్యక్ష అభ్యర్థుల మధ్య వాడివేడి చర్చ సాగింది. రిపబ్లికన్ పార్టీ ఉపాధ్యక్ష అభ్యర్థి మైక్ పెన్స్, డెమోక్రటిక్ పార్టీ ఉపాధ్యక్ష అభ్యర్థి కమలా హ్యారిస్ ముఖాముఖి డిబేట్లో పాల్గొన్నారు. 90 నిమిషాల పాటు సాగిన చర్చలో అనేక అంశాలను ప్రస్తావించారు. కరోనా అంశంపై ఇరువురి మధ్య మాటల యుద్ధం నడిచింది. కరోనాని నియంత్రించడంలో ట్రంప్ ప్రభుత్వం అట్టర్ ఫ్లాప్ అయిందని కమలా హ్యారిస్ విమర్శించారు. అమెరికా చరిత్రలోనే ట్రంప్ అధ్యక్షుడిగా ఘోర వైఫల్యం చెందారని కమలా హ్యారిస్ పేర్కొన్నారు. ప్రజల ఆరోగ్య సంరక్షణలో ట్రంప్ దారుణంగా విఫలమయ్యారని, 2 కోట్ల మంది ప్రయోజనం చేకూర్చే ఒబామా హెల్త్ కేర్ను రద్దు చేశారని విమర్శించారు.
Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country. And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country in just the last several months. Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers. We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing. On January 28th, the Vice President and the President were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne. And they knew what was happening and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th, as opposed to March 13th, what they knew, what you might have done to prepare? They knew and they covered it up. The president said it was a hoax. They minimized the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't. And in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact.
ఇక కరోనాను ట్రంప్ సర్కార్ సమర్థంగా కట్టడి చేయగలిగిందన్నారు రిపబ్లికన్ పార్టీ ఉపాధ్యక్ష అభ్యర్థి మైక్ పెన్స్. కోవిడ్ వ్యాప్తికి చైనాయే కారణమని, ట్రంప్ తీసుకున్న చర్యలతో వేలాది మంది అమెరికన్లకు ప్రాణాపాయం తప్పిందన్నారు. చైనా ప్రయాణాలపై నిషేధం విధించడం గొప్ప నిర్ణయమన్నారు. దాన్ని బైడెన్ వ్యతిరేకించారని తెలిపారు. ఒబామా హెల్త్ కేర్ దారుణంగా విఫలమైందని, అందుకే దాన్ని రద్దు చేశామన్నారు.
First day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. Before, there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had returned from China. President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done, and that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world. Now, Senator Joe Biden opposed that decision. He said it was xenophobic and hysterical. But I can tell you, having led the White House Coronavirus Task Force, that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done to date. We were able to see to the delivery of billions of supplies so our doctors and nurses had the resources and support they needed. And we began, really, before the month of February was out, to develop a vaccine and to develop medicines and therapeutics that have been saving lives all along the way. And under President Trump's leadership, Operation Warp Speed, we believe we'll have literally tens of millions of doses of a vaccine before the end of the year. The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an awful lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way.
ట్రంప్ కేవలం $750 ఆదాయ పన్ను చెల్లించడంపై విమర్శలు గుప్పించారు కమలా హ్యారిస్. అధ్యక్షుడి పన్ను విషయం దాచాల్సిన అవసరం ఏంటి అని నిలదీశారు. అధ్యక్షుడు చెల్లించే పన్నును ప్రజలు తెలుసుకోవాల్సిన అవసరం ఉందన్నారు.
President has not, both in terms of health records, but also let's look at taxes. We now know, because of great investigative journalism, that Donald Trump paid $750 in taxes. When I first heard about it, I literally said, you mean $750,000? And it was like, no, $750. We now know Donald Trump owes and is in debt for $400 million. And just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the President's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people, of you, or self-interest? So, Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency, because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest, he is forthright. But Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been about covering up everything.
వ్యాపారవేత్త అయిన ట్రంప్ ఆదాయ పన్నుగా $1 మిలియన్ చెల్లించారని వాదించారు మైక్ పెన్స్. స్వయంగా ఒక బిజినెస్ మ్యాన్ అయిన ట్రంప్ వేలాది మందికి ఉద్యోగ అవకాశాలు కల్పించారని అన్నారు.
Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life. I respect your public service as well.
Thank you.
But the American people have a president who's a businessman. He's a job creator who's paid tens of millions of dollars in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can review just as the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you,
and
Vice
turned
President
this economy around by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation, unleashing American energy, fighting for free and fair trade, and all of that's on the line if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's